everybody. It's Dave here with two old bloggers. Where's the second old blogger? He's having technical difficulties and he hasn't logged back in yet. That's why Darren is missing for the moment. Hopefully he will be here shortly. But today we're starting off with three themes as usual. The first one. Is this who the Vikings are in 2025? I wonder what that's about. Could it be about penalties? Then we go on to This Week in Vikings Land, which, to tell you the truth, I haven't a clue what Darren wrote. He just sent it to me this last night. I got it this morning and haven't looked at it yet. So we'll discover that together. Hopefully there's some Justin Jefferson stuff in there, but we'll find out together. And then the third theme, Inside the Numbers with the Drewster. How we can beat the Chicago Bears. All next on Two Old Bloggers. Let's rock. Vikings First and SKOL presents This Week in Vikings Land with Darren and Dave, your two old bloggers. Notes. And here we are, two old bloggers, and Darren still hasn't logged back in.
I don't need notes.
I don't know if you heard the Drewster there, but I'll bring Drew in for now. He's sitting in the background.
Yeah?
Let's go. Why did that pop up? Good question, David. Nothing's going right this morning. Would you believe that? Nothing is going right. I just killed Darren's window trying to bring in Drew. That doesn't work.
That's what happens when you only run the ball 13 times.
I know. It's bad. I want to welcome everybody that's here at the show. You guys absolutely rock. Here we go. Now we got Drew in.
Hey, I have no notes, but I'm fine. I'm a closer. I usually do the close. I'm a closer like baseball, but I'll be a middle reliever right now until Darren gets here.
Okay, well, good.
Darren's much better at this than I am, so I'll do the best I can. Hello, everybody.
And
I'll just sit here and listen to you because I don't know what you're talking about in your themes. What do you have for theme one again?
It's is this who we are?
Well, I can rough it through. I don't know about it, so I'll figure it out.
Oh, you can. I can lead. So it is what it is. And
it's just like going on stage. When I didn't know a song, I'd look across the stage and the keyboard player would just say A or C or whatever, and then I'd go for it.
Didn't know that.
And if you don't know it, just turn your volume down. That's the key. So I'll do that here. If I don't know it, I'll mute myself and just talk like this.
All right, you do that, but it doesn't matter because guess who just showed up?
Oh, okay. I'll see you guys later during the preview portion. Later. Where is he? Is he in?
Yeah, he's in. I'm bringing him in.
Okay.
Here we go. Darren.
Had to get some stuff figured out here.
Oh, is that what you call it?
Computer slowed booting up and my microphone wasn't working and I wasn't hearing you guys properly. Technical issues.
False start, as Justin says.
Yes.
Delay of game. Which brings us to theme one. Oop, wrong number. Oh boy, this is going to be one of those days, isn't it?
Who are good days? Yeah, who are they? Well, we're in another week, Dave, and it seems another must-win for the Vikings. At 4-5, Vikings pretty much, I think, have to beat the Bears tomorrow to really keep any chance of getting in the playoffs or winning the NFC North in play. And at 4-5, of course, that isn't what we expected. This is a team that a lot of Vikings fans and people who write about and talk about the NFL at a national level felt that the Vikings this year were going to be a playoff a team that competed for the NFC Championship and had should be one of the teams that were vying to get to the Super Bowl. So far this team has not been that. We know, Dave, this is a week-to-week league in the NFL, of course. Weird outcomes happen every week, it seems. But also, after 9 games, there's usually trends that emerge for most teams that you can kind of see that they're doing things consistently that kind of show maybe this is the kind of team that they are. And so I want to talk about 4 things that we have seen the Vikings do consistently. And I think it's for the Vikings to get into the playoffs, Dave, at 4-5 right now. First, they got to win tomorrow and get to 500. And then after that, you're probably looking at in their remaining 7 games, they have to go, or remaining 7 games, they'd have to go 5-2, I think, to have a realistic shot at either a wild card or getting the NFC North divisional title. I think 10-7 gives you a shot at that. 9-8 does not. So, a few things that I think, 4 things that I'm looking at that I think might make it tough for the Vikings to do that, because from what I'm seeing from this team, I'm not seeing a team that can win, 3 or 4 games in a row, that get on the kind of winning streak that you need to do to go 5-2 or 6-2 over your final 8 and 5-2 over those last 7 games.
They haven't won 2 in a row yet.
Yeah, no, they have not. That's right. So winning 3 in a row, 4 in a row seems like a bit of a stretch. But here's a few things that they've done consistently that it's not just been 1 game or 2 games, but pretty much across the board through 9 games so far. The first one is, and some of this Drew is going to talk about in his Inside the Numbers later on. But the first thing the Vikings have done is they've been consistently shown that they have been an undisciplined team that takes a lot of penalties. According to the stats that I pulled up, and I saw some different ones, but I had them tagged at 75 accepted penalties so far through 9 games, costing them 591 yards through those 9 games. The fewest penalties they have taken in a game this season has been 7. 2 times they've taken 13 penalties, which is a lot. Again, that's a lot of penalties and a lot of yardage cost by the Vikings on both sides of the ball. That's 4th most in the NFL right now as far as amount of penalties taken. And so that is not good. And this has been, again, every game this season, this has been an issue pretty much. In the wins, in the losses, however you look at it, it's been a problem. And that's not winning football, as Wes Phillips talked about this week. That's one issue. As
he was
part
a
of that,
bit perturbed in his press conference.
Yes, he was. He said some things you don't often hear coordinators say on the
It's
podium.
almost like he came directly from an ass chewing.
Yeah. You could be very right there, Dave. Very right. So the penalties has been an issue and a big one. Also offensively, another trend this year, they have been terrible converting on 3rd downs. 31.8% right now. They've in a conversion rate on 3rd downs, no matter what the distance is. That is 31st in the NFL, which means there's only 1 team worse than them, and that team is the Tennessee Titans, I believe, who are a terrible team this year. So you've got those 2 things. Not surprisingly, Dave, because the Vikings are committing a lot of penalties and they really struggle to convert on 3rd down, they are having a hard time scoring points. They are 23.7 per point per game average through 9 games, Dave. That has been boosted a bit by the 48 points they scored in the 1 game against Cincinnati. But overall, that average is 18th in the league. a far cry from last year when I think they finished 8th in scoring, something along those lines. But again, 18th in the league. In 6 of their 9 games this year, Dave, the Vikings have scored 22 points or less. In today's NFL, with the way you can get 2 first downs and be in a field goal kicker's range these days, with the way these guys are kicking the ball at the distances they are with the K balls and everything, and with so many teams going for it on 4th and short and extending drives that way, scoring is up in the NFL. For the Vikings this year, it is going down, and I think that 22 points or less, that's just not enough for you to score to win consistently in the NFL. Certainly not enough to rattle off a 3 or 4 game winning streak that the Vikings have to do over the next 8 games to stay in the playoff hunt. But it's not.
Does that mean we have to throw more?
No, it does not. But whatever you do, you have to be efficient at it and successful at it. It has to be both. I don't think it can be one thing. So those are 3 things where I'm putting a lot of the blame on the offense, but the defense has not been blameless either. One area where they have really struggled at this year, Drew, I think, is going to talk about this in his Inside the Numbers, is turnovers. Last year, the Vikings defense was very, very opportunistic. We know that those turnover numbers tend to dip, go up and down by season to season, but the Vikings have really fallen off in this area, Dave. They've only created 9 turnovers in 9 games, and 5 of those came in the 1 game against Cincinnati. Otherwise, they've only had 4 turnovers in the 8 other games this year, and there's been 4 games where they haven't created any turnovers at all on defense. Again, much different last year than what Brian Flores' defense did in 2024 when they were almost tops in the league in turnovers, and it was a big reason why their defense was as good as it was. So those are 4 things, again, that 4 trends that the Vikings have shown through 9 games, that this isn't an anomaly. This isn't just 1 or 2 bad games. This has happened pretty much every game for them, where they've been doing things that, these are bad stats, Dave. These are things that we associate with bad football teams, with bad football. And the Vikings keep on doing it week after week after week. So could they improve on this and turn things around a little bit and cut down on the penalties a bit and create more turnovers, be better on 3rd downs, rattle off that winning streak that they really need to stay in the playoffs? Sure, we have seen teams fix issues in the past and turn their seasons around. Last year, again, the Rams were 5-5 and went on a 5-game winning streak and ended up being one of the better teams in the NFL by the time they got to the playoffs. So it does happen. But again, sometimes, for whatever reason, with the team, the makeup, who you brought in, who's performing, who's not, injuries, quarterback play is a big part of it. Sometimes you just are what you are at this point in the season. And right now, the Vikings have been I'm not seeing a whole lot of stuff that makes me feel hopeful that they can turn it around. The Vikings just seem like a team that's undisciplined, takes a lot of penalties, can't convert on 3rd down, and a lot of that is driven by quarterback play that we've had so far. And then the defense is good most of the time, but it's not elite. And part of the reason it isn't elite is because it's not generating turnovers. So I think the Vikings got to fix these things. I'm just not hopeful that they can, because again, I've been seeing this stuff happen week after week after week, and so have you, and so has everybody else who cheers for this team. So what makes you think they're going to turn it around now?
Hope.
Yes, you got to have hope. And I guess to one area that I did think about when I was doing this is that there is at least one area where I think the Vikings have kind of cleaned up things where they were poor. I think the run defense is one area where the last 4 games, 3 of them, I think the Vikings run defense has been pretty darn good. So they have rectified, or at least
against a bunch of good runners too.
Yes. So I think they have fixed that, or at least the past 4 games. So that shows that there is an ability to turn things around. But again, I have not seen it in these 4 areas I've just mentioned up to this point.
Hopefully we'll see it here on out, but it's going to penalties are attributed to discipline, but they're also attributed to miscommunication. It's hopefully people learn, whether it be Dallas Turner's, landing with a full body weight, or all the stupid illegal motion type penalties. It's got to be just absolutely fixed if it's going to work.
Yes, it does. And it starts tomorrow, of course. But one game is not going to be enough. You're going to have to continue to do this throughout the game after game after game. And that's where the doubt comes in, because against Detroit, I think the Vikings played a very quality road game. That's why they won. But then they followed up at home at Baltimore, doing the same stuff that they've been doing all the games before they played Detroit. So just makes you wonder if these are things that are just going to hinder the team throughout the season. And that happens some years, and it doesn't make it fun for the fans. And we say, this is unacceptable and they got to fix it. I'm sure the coaches are trying to fix it, but sometimes you just can't fix it. I don't know why that happens, but Vikings haven't been able to fix these things this year so far. That much we know.
Well, let's hope they pull their heads out of their collective backsides and fix it. If not, that's going to be the identity of this team.
Yes, and not the identity that we want.
All right, now on to theme 2. This week in Vikings land, and I have no graphics for it. So we're just going to talking head it.
Yes, we don't often do that here on Two Old Bloggers. Dave's usually got the graphics just flying fast and furious up there, but there's a few things I want to get to this week. And I know the last theme, Dave, was and people, dear viewers, that was not a very hopeful look at the Vikings prospects.
What are you saying? You come in with a bad mood when you write these things?
No, I was not in a bad mood. I think just a realistic mood. But
Debbie Dowder.
Yeah, for sure. But let's give us a bit of hope. And I think, Dave, one of the things that could give you hope and for the Vikings sticking in the playoff race is actually the NFC North. You look back last year, and the Lions and the Vikings, they pretty much ran away from the Packers and the Bears and almost everyone else in the NFC to make the playoffs easily and early on. This year, the Vikings haven't been anywhere near as good, but their division, the other teams in the division haven't been really as good either, except for the Bears. But we'll get to them. But Detroit is 6-3. So are the Bears. The Packers are 5-3-1, and the Vikings at 4-5. They're behind the sticks against all of these teams. But this Sunday they get to play the Bears. So you get a win there. You're at 5-5. The Bears are 6-4. You've swept the season series against them, and you're 3-0 in your division. That's not a terrible place to be. And all 6. You look at the Bears' schedule after the Vikings. It's pretty tough. And all 6 of the Bears' wins this year have come against teams that are with losing records. Like they don't look as good as their 6-3 record suggests. I have doubts that they can continue this level of the amount of keep winning like they have so far. So I think they're due for a big drop in their record come the final 8 games, and hopefully it starts tomorrow. You look at the Lions. They play the Eagles on the road Sunday. If they lose, they'd be 6-4. And they're only 1 win up on the Vikings. The Vikings have already beat them once. And they've got a difficult 6 games left, including a road game at home, the last game of the season, I believe, in Minnesota. The Packers, this week, they're playing on the road against the 2-8 Giants, who will be starting Jameis Winston. So that doesn't, and they just fired Brian Daboll, and they've got an interim head coach. So that looks like a pretty favorable matchup for that team from Wisconsin. But again, Green Bay hasn't exactly been smoking hot lately either. You know, they just scored 20 points in the last 2 games. Both of them are at home. They lost both. The Giants have a strong.
Total.
Yeah, that's total. So they've got, the Giants have a pretty strong front seven despite other flaws. It's a road game for the Packers. You know, I think an upset is possible there, in which case the Packers would be 5-4-1 going in the following week. And their schedule is, and their remaining 7 games could be tricky as well. They got a game on the road against Detroit, 2 games to play against the Vikings, home and home, 2 against the Bears, home and home, an away game in Denver, which is not going to be a picnic, a home game against Baltimore, which is not going to be a picnic, as the Vikings found out last week as well. So, you know, if the Vikings get a little bit better, 20%, 25% better play out of JJ McCarthy than they have so far, they cut down on the penalties a little bit, create a few more turnovers on defense than they have, they could grab the NFC North title and get in the playoffs, depending on, again, what the other teams in front of them are doing throughout the rest of the season. And as I just said, their schedules are just as sticky, if not stickier, than the Vikings. Now, do I think that this is probable that this happens? I'd say no, based on what I've seen from the Vikings so far in 2025. But it is not far-fetched either with the players that this team has. And if we can remain healthy, I mean, I think there is a path towards getting to the playoffs and particularly winning the NFC North, which, you know, of course, guarantees you a playoff spot no matter what your record is.
Oh, there's definitely a path, especially with the way Green Bay is playing, and they lost their most productive player this year.
Yes.
And Detroit's up and down. We beat them, so it's going to be interesting. We'll finish the season with Detroit and Green Bay in our house, so it's going to be interesting to see who remains on top. Because I believe you when we're talking the Bears. I think most of their games are against bad teams, and they're only generally 1-score games, come from behind, miracle wins, stuff like that. Just like we were talked about last year. They're frauds.
I felt that was more of I feel everybody feels every year the Vikings have a good season that they call us frauds. But I felt that was more the narrative in 2022 than it was last year. But certainly there was a bit of that too, especially with Darnold being the quarterback and how long can he keep it up and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, could be. Mr. Pink, you know, trade deadline's over. There's nothing until end of the season. So,
yeah,
all right.
We're not acquiring. So second thing I wanted to get to, Dave, is we know JJ McCarthy. We talk about him every week on this show, of course. I don't think that is unreasonable, though, considering his importance to the Vikings' present and future. But with McCarthy, hey, we know it's been rough through his first 4 starts. Mostly pretty bad play we've seen from him. But you also, guess who else was pretty bad in their first 4 NFL starts, Dave? Josh Allen. That's who. You sent me a graphic earlier this week, and it was really surprising to look at. And the graphic compared J.J. McCarthy's first 4 starts with Josh Allen's first 4 starts. And really surprising to see how pretty much they're almost identical across the board, like completion percentage, average number of passing yards per game, average number of rushing, or the total rushing yards he'd had, interceptions he'd thrown, touchdown passes they had thrown, the quarterback rating of them, how many sacks they had taken, and their team's record, pretty much all the same, like identical in every way. And so this is, I guess, another hopeful take on things so far here, because what might not be so hopeful for us is that that was Josh Allen's rookie year in 2018. And if you want to be pessimistic, Josh Allen's rookie year, he didn't really get any better his entire rookie season. In his 12 starts, he pretty much played the same throughout that. So that wouldn't give you much hope that JJ McCarthy after 4 pretty poor first games, that he's going to take a big leap that I think is required to get the Vikings to play to their potential this year. And I'm not saying that by comparing those first 4 starts with Josh Allen's, that I'm not saying that McCarthy is guaranteed to become a Josh Allen, who, of course, after those first 4 starts, which were pretty bad, and his rookie season, which was pretty bad, he's now considered pretty much, he's one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. I think everybody would put him there. But those stats do show that it's the insanity of anybody making a call on JJ McCarthy after 4 NFL career starts. It's just not enough time. And Josh Allen's a prime example of that. Sure, you can find lots of examples of guys who struggled in their first 4 starts as a first-round pick and ended up continuing to struggle and didn't amount to anything. Christian Ponder would be one of those guys. But there's certainly lots of examples of on the other side of the way. And I guess we just don't know, and that's not very comforting for Vikings fans, but way too early to have the hot take that from what you've seen through 4 games that McCarthy isn't the guy. Like, we should just move on and forget about him and try to find somebody else. Way too early for that. Like Drew said last week, he looks at 40 games is when he finally thinks you know what you've got with a quarterback. In Sam Darnold's case, that wasn't even true. He had 56 starts before he came here to Minnesota and then played really, really well. Now he's in Seattle and he's playing even better. So quarterbacks get it at different times, but they certainly, after 4 games, I'm not ready to
Daniel Jones's record.
Yeah. Yeah. After 4 games, again, if you're out on JJ McCarthy after 4 games, you're going to be out on just about any young quarterback we could ever get or draft after 4 games. So,
right. And we knew that there was going to be growing pains. We said it prior to the season. We said it, when we drafted JJ McCarthy, that we're going to experience some growing pains. We just hope for improvement this year, as George says. That's, so far, there seems to be some.
Yeah, I see the comment about it'll take McCarthy about 3 years to get it, and Darrisaw will be 30, as well as Jefferson. I mean, Jefferson's 26 now, and I think Darrisaw is a year or 2 younger than him. With tackles, I just say with tackles, we've seen lots of cases where tackles play very well into their mid-30s. Trent Williams is still playing at a high level. Lane Johnson's still playing at a high level. So I think at that position, being 30 isn't like the death knell that it is for other positions like cornerback or running back, wide receiver to an extent too. The good news, I guess, on the Vikings end of things is that Jordan Addison would be in his prime, assuming we extend him in those 3 years, and the Vikings will have added to the wide receiver the depth at that point anyway. And depending on Justin Jefferson's contract demands, as we see with a lot of players in their 30s, veterans, he might not be a Viking anyway by the time he hits 30, because his play might have leveled off a little, but he's still asking for the same amount of money he did before. And usually in that case, like you see with DeAndre Hopkins or Devontae Adams or somebody else, teams find a way to move on from them, as painful as that would be. So just a comment there. But on Justin Jefferson, that's the third segment, because I was about this for This Week in Vikings Land, is been reading a lot this week about his supposed alleged lack of effort in the Baltimore game, where he may have not shown a great deal of effort to chase down the defender on a couple of interceptions that came on balls thrown his way. And listen, that was one of the poorest games I've seen Justin Jefferson play in his time with the Vikings. You as well, Dave, I'm sure. And in pro sports, hey, nobody's given a free pass, no matter how good they are, usually, if they have a poor game, especially in an important game like that. That's kind of the way it goes. But I'll just say, I do not give AF if Jefferson on a couple of plays may have not shown the most maximum effort you'd expect from a pro football player in a game where the Vikings offense couldn't get out of its own way and the team couldn't get out of its own way. Justin Jefferson in 86 games with the Vikings, the amount of plays where he has helped us win or keep us competitive compared to the plays where he may have not shown much effort is about 100-1. So, hey, if he was and I understand that he'd be frustrated in that game. His quarterback can't get him the ball. He's still getting open. He's not getting calls from the referee staff. I can understand why he's frustrated, but it's not like this is the A.J. Brown situation where A.J. Brown is not happy this season. He seems to be never happy. He's often open about it. And he's not happy this year on an Eagles team that's 8-2 and won the Super Bowl last year. Justin Jefferson's on a 4-5 team that isn't having the season that anybody expected them to have. He's not having the kind of season he's had. This week, I think he was pretty clear that he took accountability for his play on Sunday against Baltimore. He said he wasn't happy at all with how he played. He's not really happy with how he's played so far this season. He's got to get back to being the player that he can be and has been in the past. So I think he took accountability for that. But he's not a problem child. He's never publicly complained about his quarterback or the offense or anything like that. He's usually pointed the finger at him when he's had bad games. And again, he's also playing on a team that has had 2 one-and-done playoff appearances in his 6 years with Minnesota. So that frustration for a guy like him who was used to winning at the college level a lot, it's understandable. And it's also not worrying to me that, the effort level that he gave on a couple of plays last Sunday against the Ravens. He's going to be just fine. I expect him to have a pretty big game tomorrow, and we won't be talking about this anymore beyond today.
Well, Delton wanted me to talking point. You got to remember, Justin Jefferson was the one that said, beginning of the season, doesn't matter who's throwing him the ball, he's going to go get it. And he's also the one that has mentored J.J. McCarthy. He's the one they put, side by side in the locker room. They hang out together. He, taught J.J. McCarthy about sour gummies and the whole works. So I think he just could be. I understand where you're coming from, and everybody has those games. Could he have been sick? He says no, but who knows? He's going to be fine this week. Guaranteed. He's got the attention. And just like KOC with the false start penalties, he's going to, and got to run the ball. You're going to see things like that this week. Less false start penalties, more running the ball, and you're going to see more JJ, as in Justin Jefferson, catching the ball from JJ if we don't run it 100% of the time. So I guarantee it. Now, what I wonder is, are they going to force the ball to Jets this week?
I have seen no evidence of that in the entire time that Kevin O'Connell's been a head coach, that he's going to force the ball to one player.
Like a Randy ratio.
Yeah. I've never seen that from them. Now, they've thrown to him Buffalo game 2022 would be one example, and there's others. They've thrown to him a lot in games because it was very successful.
Best player on your team, yeah.
They're going to continue to do that. Last week at least they had 12 targets his way. I think that that's appropriate for the player that Justin Jefferson is. And sometimes you're going to throw to him when he looks like he's covered, because he can come down with those supposed 50-50 balls, all contested plays a lot of the time. I don't like it when sometimes the Vikings in the past have shied away from throwing to Justin Jefferson because there's a safety shaded his way or something like that. Because I don't, other teams with number one top wide receivers, they still try to get the ball to their guys even when they're covered, and there's extra attention from defenses put on them. But I don't think that. So I think the Vikings actually are a little bit cautious in the past and under Kevin O'Connell, and in that, as opposed to forcing the ball to him all the time. Do I think the Vikings are going to try to get the ball to Justin Jefferson early on the first drive and second drive tomorrow against the Bears? I do, and they did that in other games because you want to get him going and you want to get that connection going between him and J.J. McCarthy. But I don't expect them to force the ball. Minnesota Marshmallow had a comment there a little while back about how many playoff games has Justin Jefferson won? Well, it's a team game, Minnesota Marshmallow. Justin Jefferson is not, as great as he is very, 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 very rarely going to win a game all on his own. You need the other 10 guys on your offense and the other 11 guys on your defense, plus the special teams, to all play well to make that happen. And in the 2 playoff games that the Vikings have lost under Kevin O'Connell and during Justin Jefferson's time there, that has not been the case.
Yep. It is what it is.
But hey, keep on complaining about Justin Jefferson and see how you like it if he isn't on your team.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, one little tidbit. We have Ryan Kelly got a new helmet this week. It's not the one I wanted him to get. He did not get the Viscous Trench, which you see most of the line wear, the one that sort of looks like a bike helmet.
It's the Darrison helmet and the one that Grenard also wears, I believe.
Grenard wears, and that's not the only one. Blake Brandel wears it.
Brandel wears
it. It's the number one on the helmet for lineman list. He did not get that. He got another version of the Axiom, probably the highest rated one. And so when he comes back next week, because he's out this week, I suspect he'll have that in the bump cap on. But we'll see.
He was wearing, not a guarantee he'll do it during the games day, but I think in practices he was seen wearing the Guardian cap and the new helmet. And that's what we talked about. If he came back like several weeks ago when he had the second concussion, we discussed this and said, if I were him, I'd wear the viscous helmet, which he isn't doing, but he is getting an upgrade, whatever helmet that is, and wear the Guardian cap. Mm-hmm. And he's changed his helmet that he's using, and looks like he's at least wearing the Guardian cap in the in practices. And I hope that he wears it during the games because he's the missing piece on the offensive line. We've got the other 4 guys back now, or the 4 that we want, and he's the final puzzle, the missing piece in that puzzle.
Mm-hmm. And I heard somebody say that they didn't want to wear the viscous because it looked funny, looked odd, and until they did wear it, and then they said, no, it's a whole lot lighter.
Yeah.
and with 0 concussions since they switched to it. So did he make the right choice? We'll find out.
We sure will. Final thing I want to get to.
Now, on to theme 3.
Oh, no. Inside the number.
And we have the Drewster.
What to happen this week? What the hell is going to happen this week? Hello, everybody. Hello, Darren. Hello, Dave. How are things at the Two Old Bloggers show this week? Hello, everybody out there. Been looking at the comments. Again, smart crowd. I love doing shows with smart crowds. I was asked this week about KOC. The one thing I keep hearing from people, KOC won Coach of the Year. Yes. You know who else won Coach of the Year? Who? Brian Daboll. Shut up.
Yes, he did too.
God. The hell, that doesn't
every
mean anything.
NFL coach will get fired. I should say every. The majority of the NFL coaches, well over 90%, will get fired in their careers.
That's a good number, Dave. You should do Inside the Numbers. We got a lot going on this week. I had a great time researching this game, and I am extremely, extremely confident that the Vikings are going to pull one off this week. It's going to be a good one, as they say back in Andy Griffith days, a good one. But I'll get to that in my summary. Let's jump right into it. Vikings are 4-5, as you all know. Bears are 6-3. This is the 130th meeting between these two longtime NFC black and blue division rivals. I've watched, and Dave, you probably watched, I don't know about you, Darren, well over 100 of these. All the way back when Walter Payton set the rushing mark in Soldier Field, I watched that whole game in frustration. Chris Carter, overtime touchdown catch. That was a big moment. Walker Lee Ashley had an interception return on that Monday night game. I was at a bar, the Flamingo Hotel bar, and I stood up and yelled, "Vikings, pick 6," and then it happened. I have never been bought so many drinks in my life. It was a total call right off the bat right there. But been a lot of great games between these two teams. The most points scored against the Bears by the Vikings in Minnesota was 48. And I think we all remember that 1998 team. Randall Cunningham had 4 TD passes in that game, and 3 went to the legend, Dave Stefano.
Randy Moss.
Meow, meow. Randy Moss. 3 touchdowns that day. Currently, it seems like these two teams are on a different direction. Chicago's won 6 of its last 7, but I think they're frauds, and I think they're playing with smoke and mirrors, and I think they're full of themselves, and I think they're going to get their dicks knocked in the dirt Sunday because of it. Listen, it's worth noting, Chicago's won 6 of 7, right? Listen, here we go. 6 of 7. Here's the people they beat, the teams. The Cowboys, Raiders, Commanders, Saints, Bengals, Giants. You want to read that list again?
Please do.
Cowboys, they beat the Raiders by a point. They beat the Commanders by a point. They beat the Saints, I think it was by 12. They beat the Bengals by 5. They beat the Giants by 4. They're not blowing these teams out. All these teams suck. They're winning these games, and they're running around with their 6-3 plaque above their heads. Look at us. Well, you know what? This week it's all going to come crashing down. I am confident this week. Matter of fact, I'm so confident. I am 8-2 in first place in one of my fantasy leagues. I pulled my quarterback. I put J.J. McCarthy and picked him up off the waiver wire. I'm playing him that week. That's how confident I am in this team this week.
Mm.
That is. So I'm either going to end up looking like a dumbass or a genius. And I've spent a lot more time in my life looking like a dumbass. Believe me, I'm used to it. Vikings and J.J. McBounce back. Only played 4 games, but we go into the 5th with him already playing a team for a second time, which is kind of cool. Kind of rare, but here we go. We all remember that week oneer where we won it in Chicago with the magic play at the end of that one. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Vikings are 2. Here's what's going to save their season. Besides what you guys talked about in the themes about winning, Darren said, I think 5-2. I think it was 5-2, 6-2 or something. The fact that they're 2-0 in the division. If they run the division games, that's an extra game at the end as a tiebreaker to the division. So not only a tiebreaker to the division, but there's good teams in that division. So that could very well be a tiebreaker to the wild card somewhere in the midst of all this. By the way, the 130th meeting between the Vikings and Bears. The Vikings have won 69 of those games. So they've been on the winning end a lot of those games. They've only met one time in the playoffs, which is kind of strange for being they played each other 17 million times, and they've only played one in the playoffs. Vikings are 2-0 in the division. And we're going to get to some numbers and keys here real quick with statistics. We're going to show those first. Remember, there's a quiz following the preview today. Big quiz. So be ready. Take notes and don't lose your notes like Miles Price. Okay, numbers. Right out of the ITN gate, this is the biggest number of this game. Darren had already talked about it, and yes, I am going to re-mention it. The turnover ratio. After 9 games, the Bears are first in the NFL with a +14. Number 1. That's why they're winning these games. which to their credit, you want to be the best turnover ratio team in the league, you're making the playoffs. The best turnover ratio team makes the playoffs every year from now back to 1975 or whatever. You just do. So they're at least doing that. And
you at least got to be on the plus side. Yes.
You at least got to be on the plus side, but usually the top team, I think the Bills were up there a couple years in a row, and they were the top team, and they, of course, made the playoffs. Ironically, the Bears have their 20 takeaways they've had this season are the exact total that the Vikings defense had last year after 9 games. The Vikings had 20. So they're right even with what the 2024 Vikings were doing. Vikings only have 9 this year, takeaways. 9. Not a lot. Bears have, and the other side of it, the Bears have only committed 6 turnovers, guys. 4 interceptions and 2 fumbles. The whole season, Darren. 6 the whole season. 2 fumbles the whole season. The Vikings have 16 turnovers. They've given it away 16 times. 11 interceptions and 5 fumbles lost. They are plus 14. We are minus 7. That's a big determining factor on why we're 4-5 and they're 6-3. They've only taken the football away 9 times, which is strange. Only 3 interceptions for the Vikings this year. Do you know how many they had in 2024, the entire season? Defensively. How many interceptions did the Vikings get?
Yeah, sorry, 15, 16.
Dave?
I was about to say like 12.
Last season, the Vikings had 24 interceptions.
Wow.
This year, they have 3. You want to go inside the numbers. You can do the math. They're going to need 21 picks the last 8 games of the season to match that total. 24.
Well, if they get it, it should get us into the playoffs.
Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb and say if we match that number, we're a playoff team. But that's amazing. From 24 to 3. And they've had a decent pass rush this year. They've had a decent pass rush. I'm not sure what's going on. All the numbers, Vikings offense versus Bears defense, I listed them all to you. Nothing really excited about that. If you look at Bears offense versus Vikings defense, that's when something starts standing out. You got the Chicago offense is 3rd overall. Is that a misprint? How are the Bears offense 3rd overall? Okay, fire the stats guy. They're 3rd overall, guys, 379 yards a game. Minnesota is 12th defensively overall. Now, here's where it really comes into play. And Darren mentioned this earlier about the rise up of the Vikings defensive run defense, which has really been good the last few weeks against some really good backs. The Bears are 2nd overall in rushing the football. 2nd only, I believe, to the Bills. At 147 yards a game. It's really strange. This will definitely be the Bears. Pardon me?
Oh, I just like the Bears' offense, running offense, has really picked it up the past, it seems, 4 or 5 or 6 games where they're because they did not run it well against the Vikings in the first game, but they've really gotten it together on the running side of the ball recently, which the numbers show.
Yes, and I've got a few numbers here in my ITN vault that I specifically looked up this week that I think you guys are going to like, some tasty, tasty tidbits. Overall, the Bears are 2nd in rushing. Vikings are 22nd in run defense. That's where the Bears are going to attack. You already know that off the bat. They're going to run. If they run the football, control the pace, control the game, the Bears will win this game. But I'm banking that the Vikings run defense will stop them. And if you stop their run offense, you got a really good chance of beating the Bears. I mean, they don't turn it over until tomorrow. One of my tasty, tasty tidbits and one of my spicy hot takes, which don't question my spicy hot takes now. I've been getting those dead on. First time they touch the ball in Detroit, they'll drive the field for a touchdown. That was as spicy and as hot take as you can get. Mine this week, Van Ginkel pick. Bears will have 3 turnovers, even though they've only had 6 all season. Tomorrow they turned it over 3 times. Spicy hot takes. Write them down.
Lips, brother.
Write them down if you're in the chat. Write them down. It'll be on the test at the end. But here we go. That's what the Bears are going to want to do. But then you start thinking, what do they have with the run offense and run defense? And that gets us right into key one. we get to key one. What's my first key? Bears rush attack versus Vikings run defense. That's got to be the number one key in this whole game, because that's the only real advantage that the Bears hold over the Vikings. But if you really get into it, let me explain something. If you really get into it, it's the Vikings are going to have more of an advantage of keeping that number 2 rush offense at bay. So first off, last week, my number one key was don't have a letdown after that Lions game. Vikings pissed my key away. They just completely pissed that key away. They had a letdown, which is they win the Monday Nighter, go to play the Falcons the next week at home, letdown. They had another game in there, the game before the Chargers, nice win, letdown. So on the other side of the coin, when they get hammered and they get whipped, the next game they come back with a good game. So it works kind of both ways. I mean, after that Atlanta game, they came back and kicked the Bengals' ass. And after that disappointing and embarrassing Chargers game, they came back and beat the Lions. Am I right? I mean, is that how the schedule played out? Mm-hmm. And we all know what happened last week. Very messy game. So that's another toggle in the switch I'll put for the Vikings. But we get to Bears rush attack versus Vikings defense. Swift, Monangai, who Courtney Cronin told me yesterday how to pronounce his name. She said, don't mess it up, Drew. It's Monangai. And I said, I won't, Courtney. I'll do anything you say. And Caleb Williams, it's the 3-headed running beast in Chicago. Bears currently, like I said, are the number 2 rushing attack in the NFL, right behind Buffalo's 147 a game, which is a good pace to be on. Has the quarterback running the football tilted that number? Well, certainly it does. But team rushing is team rushing, Darren. You know the number. It's going to all go together. It all pieces together. So that led me to start looking up some numbers. How much exactly is Caleb Williams rushing of the football really play into how successful they are? Well, I'm going to give it to you right here. Bears have 1,326 rushing yards on the season. Of those 1,326 yards, Caleb Williams has ran for 246 of them, or 19% of the total, leaving Swift and Monangai to 70%. And then the remainder of the scrubs, wide receivers running jet sweeps and other running backs, all the other scrubs have 10%, which they don't care. They don't matter. Williams is also second in rushing touchdowns with 4. And you remember week 1 against us on Monday night, I believe he got one there too. You got to keep tabs on that guy. But the good news is the Vikings just faced Lamar Jackson last week. So they don't really have to change much in terms of the mobile running scramble quarterback. It would be different if we faced Lamar a month ago and then had to reconvene this week. Everything is still fresh in their minds of what they did to Lamar. And I think, personally, in my opinion, I think they did a really good job on Lamar Jackson. Overall, I think they did. He wasn't really a game changer in that game. He made some plays, but he wasn't the big a game changer as he usually is. Caleb Williams is the same way. He's going to run for about 30 yards a game. That's what he averages. You just can't let him beat you on the big scramble throwing, or the long scramble runs, the explosive plays. That's what you got to limit him on. It should be noted, here's what I looked up specifically for you, Darren, because I know you like numbers. In weeks 3 through 6, here are his rushing totals. Caleb Williams, weeks 3 for 6, which came right before week 7 through. It should be noted. Okay, weeks 3 for 6. Here's his rushing total per game: 12, 13, -2, -2, 21 yards in those 4 games. His last 3 games, since those 4 games, he's ran for 24, 53, and 63 yards for a total of 140 yards. Ben Johnson wants him on the move because the other stuff wasn't working. He wants him on the move, and that's what he's done lately to kind of rejuvenate. I think that's what the rushing game has got them to number 2, is all those yards. It's a lot of yards for a quarterback in 3 weeks. He will get out. He will run for long stretches, but they just played Lamar Jackson, and I think they had a plan for him. Use that same plan, because if you not only shut their running backs down, you keep him contained to only 30 yards, you're going to beat the Bears. They've been relying on that every week. and we're not the Bengals, and you squeaked by with a lucky win against the Bengals. We may have had our downfalls this year, but the Vikings keep beating. The Vikings should be 7-2. That's a whole different story for a whole different show. I wrote a post about it in the Gallahorn about why they're not 7-2, and it's not because of the players, not even so much the play calling. It's the stupidity. It's the I don't know what other word to use, David Stefano. You get a kick return of 50 yards, called back. You get a kick return of 42 yards, called back. You have a penalty here. You have a bunch of false starts here.
Of a touchdown called back.
There you go. You got Dallas Turner headbutting some guy. I mean, come on. This isn't the 70s Raiders. Get your head out of your butt. Stop doing stupid things. Stupid. If they just play a clean game, you guys have heard me say that. They're one of the best teams in football. And you guys talked about it in your theme. I would like to know why it keeps happening. Because Dave mentioned it keeps happening week after week after week. And then you guys went into how to change that. I'm more wondering, why does it keep happening every week? But I'm going to stay away from that rabbit hole. And we're going to get back to previewing this game. Same thing they need to do against Caleb Williams is what they did against Lamar. They kept overloading to one side to flush him out to the other side. Then they had a linebacker there or a safety or somebody, Metellus, was waiting for him. He looked – usually Lamar takes off. He takes off at 100 miles an hour, and he's gone. He was iffy last week. He was like having trouble getting like 4 or 5, 6 yard gains. And I think the Vikings defensed it real well. They disguised it. They overloaded it. You can't – I'm not sure. I don't have the numbers how many times they blitzed Caleb Williams in the first game. I imagine it's going to be more. But one of the keys last week is I said you got to lower your blitzes and be choosy on your blitzes. Because when it comes to blitzing, less is more. Less is going to get you more results than doing it 60 times or whatever. You got 60% of the time. You got to pick and choose. But if you do, let's just end it with this. If Lamar Jackson can't figure out where to go when he's running, Caleb Williams can't. Because Lamar Jackson's much better at it than Caleb Williams. Implement the same defense. You just faced them last week. Don't change anything. Don't get too cute. Don't change anything. You have the defense to stop a mobile quarterback. And if you get Caleb in the pocket throwing it, he's one of the quarterbacks in the league, Darren, that goes complete Orlovsky. He falls apart mentally. He falls apart mentally when mistakes start happening. He pushes it, presses it, throws picks, throws bad passes. That's where you want him. You don't want him running around getting 30-yard gains. Key 2, J.J. McBounce back. McCarthy has to rebound from that game last week. And I think he will. Even though this is only his 5th start, he gets to face the same team within the 5-start span that he's faced. J.J.'s stat line back in week 1 versus Chicago at Soldier Field, 13 for 20, 143 yards with 2 touchdowns. Also ran twice for 25 yards. And that beautiful game-winning read option. Remember that play? That we watched it over and over on the highlight reel. What a great play. Keep in mind, the 4th quarter against the Bears, the 21-point outburst versus the Bears, week 1 of Monday Night Football, was the Vikings' best point-scoring quarter of the season.
Mm-hmm.
That's the tops. They edged out the 2nd quarter against the Bengals when they scored 20. The 2nd quarter of that Bengals game. But
so you're telling me they've gone nothing but downhill since.
On to the next topic. That's what I'm saying, David.
Yeah.
Kind of like my bass playing career. Okay. Yeah, they had 21 points was their biggest outburst. Hopefully we'll see that again. JJ's going to rock this week versus Chicago. I don't want to get into all the things about 4 games and who's – I'm surprised he's on such a short leash with everybody. I'm surprised. It's only been 4 games. You guys talked about all that. We don't need to get into it. Everything in the NFL is about this week. This week, he's going to beat Chicago. He's going to look good, and everybody's going to say, oh, he's a Fall of Fame. So that's how the fans are. They're week to week. He's going to be my player of the game. The Bears have the 26th passing defense, 2-6 out of 3-2 teams. 26th, and they're only 21st rushing the quarterback. I'm sorry, they're not 21st. They have 21 sacks. That's what I have in my notes. 21 sacks on the season, 9 games. I think the Vikings have a few more than that, but their front 7 isn't really dynamic, Darren. They don't like blow you out of the water with their front seven. So JJ hopefully will have a little more time and a little. JJ's been doing the full tilt boogie, Darren. We talked about that. We've been talking about that for 6-7 years. Full tilt boogie is when your mind gets going faster than what your limbs can produce. It happens in every sport. It can even happen to bass players. I've been up on the stage. I get full tilt boogie and go, holy hell, what note is it? What key is the song in? You got to slow down. JJ's got to slow his mind down. Slow it down. That's something that he suffered from at Michigan too. You got to slow it down. You got to reel him back a little bit. When he steps up in the pocket and he's almost running and then he throws it, that's not McCarthy. That's not right. That's not what he does. You got to calm him down. When he gets to full tilt boogie and his mind's mile a minute, that's not good, JJ. But I believe that he's going to be okay tomorrow. Plus, you factor in their secondary is pretty banged up, Darren. Their secondary is pretty banged up. They got Jalen Johnson was on IR. He just came back off IR. He had one practice. Guys who come back off IR and have one limited practice don't usually play. Johnson won't be out there. I'm calling it right now. That's really a chancy thing. Your first practice back, you don't even get through a full practice. He had a limited practice, been on IR. The other guy, Gordon, what the hell is his name?
Kyler Gordon.
He's on IR. Both the starters are iffy. Both the safety guys, which have been kind of keeping the Bears secondary, I don't know, kind of in the game in the back end. Brisker, I don't know if he's going to go. And then Byard, he's hurt. So the non-explosive front seven of the Bears matched up with a beat-up secondary is going to be prime for the Vikings tomorrow. And Jefferson's going to get his. By the way, Naylor is McCarthy's favorite receiver. I'm telling you right now. He has a bond with that guy. I don't know if that's good or bad or indifferent. I know Naylor's not our top guy. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I want guys to catch the ball. I want to move the ball, move the chains, and put it in the end zone. I don't give a shit who catches it. Catch it, run the offense, get down there and score. By the way, AJ Brown, he's a prick. You know what? JJ and JJ are fine. They're friends. They work together. Jefferson has been a soldier here the whole time he's been here. If he has one bad game, who gives a shit? But he's not diva. He's not like that. He wants to win.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to win games. That's what he wants to do. He wants to
win and have fun. Yes.
I mean, you'd like to see him chase a wide receiver, but I think Darren said, look what he's done since he's been here. Look how many games that guy has been an integral part of winning. I'm not worried about Justin Jefferson, nor am I worried about being in a fighting with McCarthy. That's all horse shit. It is. They're fine. He's gonna develop them. They're gonna come along. There's gonna be off weeks. There's gonna be good weeks. Like this week's gonna be a good week. It's football. It's week to week stuff, man. It's week. You got to look at the big picture of the whole thing. Jefferson isn't a diva, and he's not going to demand a trade. Just you think you know, but you don't know. So sit back and be patient and just let it play out. I'm not worried about the Vikings offense versus, like I said, I got JJ McCarthy as my fantasy quarterback this week. That is going out on a limb for a team that's in first place in fantasy. But you know what? I believe in that karma stuff. I believe in it, Darren. I'm going to play JJ. He's going to have a great – I'm going to win that game. Okay, key 3. Let's get to it. Right there, the face you see on your screen. The Golly G KOC. Coach of the year, just like Brian Dable. Coach of the year. Why is my face yellow? Maybe I turn the slide off. There we go.
No.
No, I can't see it. No, I can't see my notes. Okay, Golly G KOC. For shit's sake, stop with the nice uncle. Everybody gets a participation trophy because, darn it, we're all winners in my book. That's got to stop. You got to stop with that stuff. Shut up. No one wants to hear that anymore. Your teams are making mistake after mistake after mistake, and that's the first sign of a poorly coached team is the mistakes you play every week. Herm Edwards said it. You're either coaching it, you're allowing it to happen. There's no other choice. Stop. When I see a guy fumble 2 kickoffs, why the hell do I see him back there on a punt return? Get him out of the game. You can bench a player and not cry about it. It's okay. Get your house in order. Get your football team in order. KOC has won a lot of games here. But this thing is off the tracks, and he's got to get it back on the tracks. He has to set the example. Get your team in order. Stop with the penalty-ridden, turnover-filled, stupid, and inexcusable mental mistakes that have been hanging over your team like a poop-filled cloud of poop nachos. Stop. It's a poop cloud right now. It's been hanging over your team since week 1. You got to get your house in order. You've heard me talk about it a lot. You got to tell your team in the locker room the next guy that has a false start is sitting on his ass for a quarter or whatever. Do something. Hold somebody accountable. Turn the team around.
This week during this presser, they've done something to fix it. We'll see what that something is.
Yeah. We're going to clean this up. He's been saying that every week at the press conference. There's some things we need to clean up. How about cleaning it up?
So does
saying it doesn't. Well, a lot of talk. Let's see it cleaned up. Let's see it improve. You still have 8 games left during this one with the Bears. Let this be your starting point. Forget all that other stuff. Forget that debacle against the Chargers. Forget all of it. This is a new season. It starts right now. You're 2-0 in the division. You start playing some real football, you're going to be there going to the dance at the end of the season. You got a real shot. I don't believe in these people talking about the Vikings are done and out of it. They're not out of it. But you got to sit your team down, get your house in order, and say, this is where we start taking off. This is a game that leads us into the next game, and we got to get it done. But you can't keep thinking about what happened in the past. I don't know. In my opinion, I think this defense is on its way to being top 3 or top 5 again. Go look at the numbers from the last couple of games. Go look inside the number. The defense is playing well, and they're on their way back. Van Ginkel and Cashman, they're gonna be right up there in starting tomorrow and getting better and better further on towards the end of the year, which is the time you want your defense to play well, is playoff time. The teams in the playoffs that have sketchy defenses are the one and out. They're the one and doneers. But it's right out there in front of them, Darren. That's what I'm saying. It's right out there in front of them. 4 and 5 can be 8 and 5. If you tweak it, clean up your house, my God, do something about. We've been through it. We don't need to talk about that. But the golly gee, nice guy stuff has to stop because they're not responding. You had a couple games ago that Batty had a hold on the kickoff return for a touchdown. Big penalty, Dave. You're taking 6 points off the board. In the third quarter, the same guy had the same penalty. Same guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not worried about being those consequences, because that's the only way you'd have the same penalty. After you have a penalty that calls back a touchdown or a long kick or whatever, you can't have it. Something's you got to have a line somewhere that can't be crossed, or you're sitting on the bench. You can't just have a free-for-all out there, and that's what the Vikings have been doing, is having a free-for-all. All these penalties, I mean, it's amazing. He's in charge of it.
It's being coached.
Or it's being coached. Bust somebody's nuts. You know what? Adam Thielen. Here's a good Drew point. Everybody out there in the chat, listen to this. Adam Thielen was going nuts on the sidelines. He was flipping out over that call, which was a bad call. I don't know what else you're supposed to do in today's game. He just blocked the guy. It's not his fault the guy wasn't looking at him. Anyway, it's not even about that. It's about his reaction. Helmet toss, screaming at the ref after being held back. You know who should be right next to him screaming? Your head coach. The head coach should have been right next to Thielen screaming obscenities. That's who I want to see scream. Thielen did. Why can't KOC have that reaction? That's what he should be doing. He should be backing Thielen 100%. Just my opinion. He went apeshit on the sidelines and KOC didn't. I think he should have been right there with Adam, because I like seeing that kind of fire. Thielen wants to win. You can't be golly gee all the time. You can't be golly gee all the time. Simplify. Stop freaking thinking everything through. When you get a touchdown and you kick the extra point, what the hell are you trying to do? Somebody needs to explain what the hell we were trying to do with that. Make it 27-20. He went 27-19. He went for that ridiculous 2-pointer. You still need another touchdown, Darren, but now it's even more difficult for your young quarterback because he needs a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. for a rookie quarterback. What the hell is Kevin O'Connell thinking about running that play right there? Because some chart told him to go for 2? It feel the game, the situation. Know who your quarterback is. You kick an extra point there. That way, if you get another touchdown, all you need is an extra point to tie it. Don't make it more difficult than it has to be. Simplify things. Kick an extra point when you're supposed to kick an extra point. And, well, some analytics chart told me it's not about analytics. It's about each team's different. Every situation's different. Every game is different. And the way that game was unfolding, you kick the extra point there and make it 27-20. You can't even argue with me about it. Okay.
And we won't.
I don't care about the teams coming up, where these games are played, the next 8 games. I don't care who the teams are, whether they're played or whatever. O'Connell just has to go, all right, we start with the Bears tomorrow, and then we're going to kick the next team's ass, and we're going to kick everybody's ass by playing mistake-free football. Baltimore, last week, 0 turnovers, 5 penalties. That's how you win football games. 0 turnovers, 5 penalties, not 13 penalties and 3 turnovers. It's a simple game. Football's easy. Just don't shoot yourself in the foot, and you're probably had a good chance of winning that game. And the Vikings, there are certain teams that can play clean football that can't win, like the Jets. Take the Jets, for example, and compare them to the Vikings. If the Vikings play a clean football game, they got enough talent to win those games. The Jets, even if they don't turn the ball over and have 5 penalties, they're probably not going to win. So O'Connell has to trust his roster, set his team up for the best position possible to win, not by going for 2 and putting your team down by 8. Simplify. Do the right thing. Show a little fire. And here's the summary. We'll get to the summary right now because I know people are sick of listening to me talk. Here's the summary. After further review, it's all written right there for you. David does a great job with the graphics, as he does every single week. Dave, you do a really good job at this. You should have more shows, Dave. Instead of 20, you should.
No.
You need to produce more shows, Dave. That's your job for the week. After further review, even though these teams seem to be on different directions, I really feel this is going to be a big win for the Vikings, double digits at least. I think the Bears, like I said, are fraudulent. If you look inside the numbers in all of their games, they're winning games, which is the bottom line to doing it, but they're toying with them, man. They're not who they think it. The Bears are not who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook. I think the Vikings set pretty good in this game. Like I said, 3 turnover. I don't think the Vikings will turn it over. Maybe 1. If they have 1, the Bears will have 4. We're going to have 3 more turnovers than them. Cut down on the penalties. Van Ginkel with the interception. I'm feeling really good about this game. And the Bears are a fraud. You can call the Chicago people, call them up, tell them I said that, tell them to call me at home or come by my house. I'll tell them straight to their face. The last 5 teams they played, the only team they played, they won 6 out of 7, Darren. The only team they played that was worth a shit was the Ravens. And the Ravens beat them 30-16. We're a real
when
team.
The Ravens were hurt.
Tyler Huntley started that game, not Lamar Jackson.
Yes! You are absolutely correct. You are correct, sir. I feel that they're complacent, they're cocky, and they're primed for the beatdown. And I think the Vikings are to deliver. Here's my percentage. Listen closely, because I don't do this often. I gave the Vikings a 92% chance of winning this game. I don't go over 90% for hardly anything. Anything. It's tough to get me on talking football to go 90% on anything. I gave a 92% chance of winning. And if I'm in the 90 percentile, I'm feeling pretty good about it. But, when we do these reviews, we look at the teams and the quarterbacks and the pass rush and the front 7 and the corners and the penalties and everything. Some reviews, you just feel good at the end of it. And I think the Vikings are going to explode on the Bears tomorrow. Like I said, double digits. I see them getting this game by. And I think the Bears we're going to bring them back to earth. Because they are not who they think they are. And on that note, I'm done. In the running trivia we got for you guys, you guys sucked last week at over-under. Dave got 3. Darren got 2 out of 5. But Dave is ahead 3-2. We're going to keep a running total because we can't give prizes out every week because I'm not Zuckerberg. We're going to We're going to keep a running total to the end of the year. Here are your things this year, and they're a little different than over-under. I'm just going to take a number from you. That way there won't be too many ties in it. We always start with J.J. McWinner. Tomorrow he will be McWinner. J.J. McCarthy passing yards. You give me a number. Closest one gets the point.
I'm going 195.
195 for the Flyers fan, the tennis man, Darren Campbell.
250.
Dave thinks he's going to do a little better. 250, 195. Okay. Vikings total points. Whoever's closest wins the point.
23.
I was going to go 27.
DC with 23. Dave has 27. I have 34. And I did that sober.
You're right.
Was not. Viking first downs. Average first downs in a football game is 17 to 23. That's average from what I see when I do all my number crunching. So the Viking first downs. This is going to be a close one probably.
Dave, you go first.
Week 1 against Chicago, they only had 14.
Yeah, they have not produced a whole lot. And you don't necessarily have to if you get long plays.
It's not a determining stat.
Either.
Yeah.
It's not a one-loss determining stat, but it's fun to track first downs. I'm a big first
with
down fan.
The increased emphasis on running, I'll go 17.
17 for David.
20.
20 for DC. Good. There won't be a tie because there's a 3-way difference, and I know if there's anything I know in my life, it's 3 ways. Justin Jefferson receiving yards. You guys botched this Dave got the under on this last week. Darren went over. Although Jefferson probably should have had over 90, right? I mean,
if he would have not fallen down.
In that couple passes weren't 395 feet over his head, landing in the first section of the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Receiving yards. I'm interested to see what you guys got for this.
Post it.
I'm going to go with 110.
Nice.
Whoa. I'll go with 90.
Okay. And the last question is an over-under one because I had to get one over-under in there. Vikings, false start penalties. Over-under, 2.5. False starts in this game.
Under.
Yeah!
I'll go over just to be different.
You're probably going to be right.
And we'll be screaming.
As you see, Darren has a lot of confidence in that last answer. Darren is confident. That's it. That's all I got for this game. But it's going to be a good weekend, guys. It's going to be a good game tomorrow. I think the Vikings, when they come off a real horrible loss, at least they've been playing well rather than the other way around. So we'll see what goes on with this game. But I don't know if people in the chat are as confident as me, but
Too evil, Dalton, over.
Over. Hard time coming up with the over-under. Should I make it 3.5? Should I make it 7.5?
No.
Maybe 7.
Stick it where, yeah. If it's 7.5, ooh.
That's it for me, guys, for preview-wise.
All right.
Thanks for having me on.
Tomorrow, join us live at the 2-minute warning. I'll be counting down the game. I should have it hopefully on local TV. We'll see. And then we'll get Darren and Tyler and possibly Jonas all together if Jonas isn't over with his girlfriend. And we'll react with you. Watch the end and react. It's a great show.
I need that Jonas guy's email because I watched that show a couple weeks ago. That guy gets the good stuff. I need to talk to that guy. Hey,
Jonas, English is a second language, but
no, it wasn't the English.
He knows
funny.
football.
He does. I like that show, the 2-minute warning.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll
and
show
then
up live.
Later on in the evening, I will record Monday's show for the Fans First football show. I will be on it, or I will record it, one or the other, or both.
Guy never stops working, this Dave Stefano, man.
He doesn't, does he?
All the time.
I generally take Tuesdays off, or at least Tuesday afternoons. Just to let you know.
He's like a Terminator 1000, whatever that model is.
But what have you got going on, Drew?
Really not much besides this show. No, not right. Much. We're doing got a lot of hockey stuff going on, but for me, I'm just trying to get this season turned around for the Vikings. I think that it's very strange that to see both ends of it. To see, I watch some shows with some people that make sensible comments that don't seem to be going off the edge too much, and then there's some people just on a ledge about it. It's so contrasting. It's like, it's weird. It's weird. But like I said, I listen to you guys probably more than anybody because I like your info and I like your, the way you guys talk about the Vikings. But I really don't have much going on except for hockey and chasing tunes around the house and football. Have you reworked that Kansas-like song? No, I have not yet because I don't think it sounds as much like Kansas. But you know what? I started tweaking with it. And I went, God, now it sounds like White Lion. Or now it sounds like Jimmy Page. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll just go power chords and cheat everybody like AC/DC does. So I have not worked on that, but pretty mellow here in my retirement here in Missouri. I'm loving it. Loving it. Okay. Well, you need to give me at least 4 notes and put as your intro versus the. Yeah, I don't like that twangy bass you got playing. Yeah. If my buddy Jaco Pastorius was still alive, he'd laugh at me for using that. I'm going to send you something. Okay. We need a little bass ripping going on right there. But yeah, what are you guys up to this week? Producing shows after shows. Checking that whiskey content. It's getting there. There will be a 4 bottles holiday ordering. There's a half dozen whiskey bottles left. Partials. That's enough. That cover a couple weeks at least. At least tomorrow. Yeah. By the 4th quarter, when we got 14 penalties. Yep. So, Darren, you got any last words?
No, sir, baby. Just, I think I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. And let's see, hoping the Vikings can put together a somewhat complete game for a change.
Thank you, Too Evil. Is KOC fully developed head coach at this point? Let's hope not. Northfield sent me this. I want to give him a shout out. Is it an easel? No, it's a little toolbox, or no, it's a little thing to hold wine and stuff. It's badass. I think he made
looks very nice.
It does look nice. Wine or beer mugs or something like that. I don't know. He sent it to Toots's, so I probably should check into that. Make sure there's nothing going on there. Thank you, Northfield. Thank you for doing it. It's crafted perfect. I think he made it for himself, but. Yeah, I carry it around. It's a good little carry-all thing, but that's why I love the fans of the Vikings, man. We all are friends with each other mostly, and nothing wrong with that, George. Thank you for having me on, guys. All right, what do we say?
We say SKOL Vikings, baby, beat the Bears.
SKOL Vikings, baby, beat the Bears.
SKOL Vikings, fuck the Bears. Oh! Like, subscribe, and ring the bell, and rate us on your favorite podcast aggregator. Darren and Dave, thank you for watching this episode of Two Old Bloggers. We look forward to seeing you on every show on the new Vikings First and SKOL. You can find our podcast as part of the Fans First Sports Network. Sports takes for the fan, from the fan. SKOL, everybody!